You can always tell when someone's interest shifts not because they say it, but because their focus does. When a man is attracted to you, something fascinating happens at a psychological level. His attention becomes selective. Suddenly, you're not just another person in the room. You become the person his mind keeps returning to, consciously and unconsciously. He starts noticing things he didn't before: the tone of your laugh, the way you react to things, even the smallest details about your habits. And here's the important part: he doesn't choose to do this. His attention gravitates toward you naturally because attraction sharpens focus. What makes this so interesting is how subtle it is. He might be in a group setting, surrounded by people, yet his awareness stays tethered to you. Maybe he notices when you speak, maybe his body shifts slightly in your direction, or maybe his eyes flicker toward you when something happens, as if he's checking to see your reaction first. That's not coincidence. That's connection. Our minds instinctively prioritize what emotionally matters to us. And when you emotionally matter, his attention tells the story long before his words ever will. Psychologists call this asterisk selective attention bias asterisk. It's when someone unconsciously filters the world through the lens of what they're emotionally invested in. If he's drawn to you, his brain is tuned to your frequency. He remembers things you said weeks ago. He picks up on the emotional subtext of your words. He reacts differently when you're near, by a little more alive, a little more self-conscious. It's as if his internal spotlight follows you, even when he's trying to appear detached. But this isn't just about noticing you, it's about how he reacts to that awareness. A man who's hiding his attraction will often overcompensate. He'll act distracted, casual, maybe even aloof, as if he's trying to signal indifference. Yet underneath that performance, his energy betrays him. You'll catch him watching when he thinks you're not looking. He'll find reasons to engage with you, to ask questions, make small jokes, offer help, anything that keeps the connection alive without making it too obvious. What's powerful here is recognizing that attention is emotional currency. Where we invest it, we reveal our heart's priorities. If his attention keeps circling back to you, if you become the emotional reference point for his behavior, then attraction is already in play, even if he hasn't spoken it aloud. And once you start noticing this, you'll see how consistent it is. Because attraction that's real doesn't flicker on and off. It becomes a pattern. The deeper truth is this: we can't fake what captures our attention. When someone genuinely draws us in, our focus gives us away. It's not in grand gestures or rehearsed words, it's in the quiet pull of curiosity, the way the world seems slightly more interesting when they're around. So, if you're trying to understand whether a man likes you but isn't saying it, stop listening for the words. Start observing where his attention goes when he doesn't think it matters. Because where his focus lingers, his feelings live. And that's the secret most people miss. Love doesn't begin with a confession. It begins with awareness. The moment he starts noticing you more than anyone else, his heart has already started to choose. One of the most revealing psychological signs that a man is attracted to you yet trying to hide it is his subtle shift between approach and retreat. It's this dance of coming close, pulling away, then coming close again. At first glance, it might look like mixed signals or emotional confusion. But in truth, what you're witnessing is a battle between his instinct and his fear, his desire to move toward connection, and his hesitation to lose control of what that connection might mean. You see, attraction doesn't always lead to immediate expression. Especially for someone who values control or is afraid of vulnerability, the feeling of being drawn towards someone can actually be uncomfortable. He wants to be near you, but proximity exposes him. It reveals too much. That's why you might notice him leaning into conversations, laughing more around you, or finding excuses to talk only to later go quiet, avoid eye contact, or seem distant. It's not indifference, it's self-protection. He's trying to manage a feeling that's already managing him. This push and pull dynamic is deeply psychological. When someone suppresses attraction, it often amplifies the feeling rather than diminishes it. The more he tries to hide what he feels, the more his emotions surface in indirect ways through micro expressions, tone shifts, or fleeting gestures. You might notice his voice soften slightly when addressing you, or that his posture straightens unconsciously when you walk into a room. It's not performance, it's physiology. His body speaks before his mind can censor it, and this is where many people get confused. They assume inconsistency means disinterest, but real emotional tension often is inconsistent. Because he's not sure how to navigate the emotional terrain he's in. Maybe he's afraid of rejection. Maybe he's unsure whether you feel the same. Or maybe he's just scared that acknowledging his attraction will disrupt a balance he's not ready to lose. Understanding this helps you interpret his behavior differently. You begin to see that what feels like emotional distance is sometimes just emotional overload. The retreat isn't always a rejection, it's a reset. He's trying to regain equilibrium, to think clearly again after his emotions have taken the wheel. So instead of overanalyzing the silence or the space, watch what happens after. Does he find his way back to you, initiate conversation again, look for new opportunities to connect? If he does, that's not confusion, that's courage trying to find expression. Here's what's profound about this pattern. It mirrors how many of us behave when something truly matters. We hesitate, we overthink, we pull back not because it's meaningless, but because it matters too much. When someone triggers deep emotion, they also awaken deep fear of loss, of vulnerability, of exposure. So when you notice that rhythm, the advance and retreat, don't dismiss it too quickly. It may not be a red flag. It may be the quiet proof that something real is stirring beneath his composure. Attraction isn't a straight line. It's a pulse. It moves forward, it retreats, it circles back. But when someone keeps finding their way back to you, even after pulling away, that's when you know their feelings aren't fleeting. They're fighting to be understood, even when they're not ready to be revealed. And that's the truth sometimes. The silence between two people isn't emptiness. It's everything they're afraid to say. Another subtle but powerful psychological sign that a man is attracted to you, yet trying to hide it, is the way he becomes hyper, aware of your presence, even when he's pretending not to be. You'll notice this in the smallest details, the way his energy shifts when you enter a room, the microsecond pause in his speech when you walk by, or how his eyes seem to track your movement without ever quite meeting yours. It's not deliberate. In fact, it's often something he doesn't even realize he's doing. His attention becomes naturally magnetized toward you because attraction has a gravitational pull that logic can't fully resist. When a man tries to suppress his feelings, his body often betrays him first. He might angle his body subtly toward you in a group conversation, or his tone might unconsciously soften when addressing you. He could fidget more than usual, run a hand through his hair, or find small, seemingly innocent ways to mirror your behavior. These gestures might appear meaningless on the surface, but psychologically they reveal where his attention and his emotional investment truly lies. Our subconscious is incredibly honest, even when our words are not. This heightened awareness is often accompanied by restraint. He'll notice every small change in your appearance, every shift in your mood, but he'll act as if he hasn't. It's his way of maintaining control, of appearing unaffected when internally he's anything but. This balance between awareness and denial is where attraction and fear collide. He's studying you, reading you, yet trying to appear unreadable himself. Here's the interesting paradox. The more someone tries to suppress emotional attraction, the more it intensifies their focus on the source of it. Psychologically, suppression creates obsession. When he tries not to feel, he ends up feeling more. When he tries not to look, he becomes more aware of how much he wants to. That tension between what he feels and what he allows himself to express is what makes these moments so charged, so electric, even when nothing is said aloud. Women often sense this energy before they can logically explain it. You feel it in his gaze that lingers a second too long, or in how he seems to remember things you said weeks ago, even when he pretends not to care. He's observing details because you matter to him more than he's willing to admit. The irony is, his effort to appear composed often ends up revealing him more, because real attraction doesn't need words. It leaks through behavior, tone, and timing. And this is what I want you to understand. When a man is emotionally drawn to you, he doesn't always confess it in a straightforward way, but his awareness gives him away. He will position himself where he can see you, even if he doesn't approach. He will notice when you laugh, even if he doesn't join in. He will listen when you speak, even if he doesn't respond directly. These are not coincidences. They're quiet admissions. Attraction, when unspoken, is an invisible conversation. It's the communication beneath the surface, the shared awareness between two people who feel something real, but are both pretending not to. And if you want to know the truth, that's where the most honest connections often begin. Because love rarely announces itself with words, it reveals itself in attention, and that's the beauty of it sometimes. What he hides the most is what speaks the loudest. Another powerful but often overlooked psychological sign that a man is attracted to you, yet trying to conceal it, is the way he begins to subtly protect his emotional image around you. This might not look like attraction at first glance. In fact, it can often appear as distance, composure, or even indifference. But beneath that calm exterior is something deeply human, a desire to be seen as strong, capable, and in control in front of the person whose opinion suddenly matters more than anyone else's. When men feel something real, it shakes their sense of control. Attraction, especially emotional attraction, disrupts the stability of how they see themselves. So instead of leaning into it, many instinctively tighten their emotional armor. You'll notice him choosing his words more carefully, editing his emotions mid-sentence, or retreating slightly when a moment feels too vulnerable. It's not that he's not feeling something, it's that he's terrified of how deeply he feels it. There's a fascinating psychological truth here. When someone truly affects us, we often respond with restraint before openness. That restraint isn't rejection. It's a form of self-preservation. He doesn't want to misstep, say too much, or reveal more than he's ready to admit. Because once you've been hurt before, attraction doesn't just excite you, it threatens your balance, and so he hides behind composure, not because he doesn't care, but because caring makes him feel exposed. You might see this in the way he hesitates before complimenting you, or how he gives you advice when you're upset instead of just listening empathetically. It's not because he doesn't want to connect, it's because he's trying to maintain control over emotions that are starting to control him. This is one of the clearest markers of hidden attraction. A man working hard to appear unaffected when he's actually deeply invested. Think of it like this. Emotional distance can often be a mask for emotional depth. The more he tries to regulate how much of himself he reveals, the more energy he invests in managing that attraction. You can sense it in the moments of quiet after you share something personal, when he pauses, not because he doesn't know what to say, but because he feels more than he's ready to express. And sometimes that guarded behavior is his way of testing safety. He's watching how you handle his small disclosures, how you react to moments when his guard slips, because for him to let go of control, to truly open up, he has to feel that his vulnerability won't be met with rejection or judgment. In a way, his composure isn't about pride, it's about fear. The fear of being misunderstood, of being seen too clearly, too soon. So, when you see a man holding back, don't rush to assume he's detached. Sometimes he's simply waiting to trust that it's safe to let the mask fall. And when it finally does, you'll see that his restraint wasn't distance. It was depth disguised as discipline. Because here's the truth: people hide what they value. And when he hides his emotions around you, it's often because he senses something rare, something worth protecting. In the end, attraction isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet tension between what's felt deeply and what's shown carefully. And that's where the most authentic connection begins, not in the performance of affection, but in the courage it takes to slowly reveal what was once hidden. One of the most revealing yet understated signs that a man is deeply attracted to you, but trying to hide it, is how he starts mirroring your emotional rhythm without realizing it. This isn't about copying your gestures or mimicking your words. It's about emotional synchronization, the subconscious alignment of moods, tone, and energy that happens when two people are deeply connected. You'll notice it in small, almost invisible ways. When you're calm, he softens. When you're enthusiastic, he lights up. When you withdraw, he becomes quieter too. It's not calculated, it's instinctual. Human beings mirror those they feel emotionally attuned to because it creates a sense of connection and safety. In psychology, this is called emotional attunement, and it's one of the strongest indicators of hidden affection. When someone is invested in you, they start feeling asterisk with asterisk you, not just asterisk around asterisk you. But what makes this particularly fascinating, and sometimes confusing, is how he'll simultaneously try to resist that pull. He might joke to mask a serious moment or downplay something important you've shared because he's scared of where that emotional connection might lead. The more he mirrors you, the more vulnerable he becomes, and that's exactly what he's trying to avoid. He wants to stay in control, but connection naturally erodes control. That inner conflict, the tug between restraint and resonance, is one of the clearest psychological clues that he's drawn to you on a deeper level. Men who are emotionally guarded often don't realize that attraction leaks through behavior, not words. Even if he never admits his feelings, his consistency reveals him. He shows up in small, steady ways. He remembers the details of what you said last week, even if he pretends he doesn't. He adjusts his tone when speaking to you, even subtly, as though his entire nervous system shifts into sync with yours. This emotional reflection is powerful because it bypasses logic. You can't fake it. You can't sustain it with pretense. It happens because something inside him is already invested in how you feel, and how he feels when he's around you. And that's what makes attraction both beautiful and terrifying. It dissolves emotional boundaries before either person consciously agrees to it. It's also why some men pull back just when the connection feels most alive. It's not rejection, it's emotional self-defense. When he mirrors your emotions, he's essentially revealing his own capacity for empathy and depth. But for someone who's been hurt, that can feel like a dangerous place to stay. So he might create distance, appear distracted, or retreat into logic to dull the emotional charge. Yet even in that retreat, the attunement doesn't disappear, it lingers in the pauses, the glances, the tone of his voice. You can tell a man is deeply drawn to you when he's affected by your emotional state, when your mood subtly becomes his. It's not manipulation, it's connection. And the moment he realizes that your presence shapes his inner world more than he expected, that's when he starts to feel something real. Because love, or even the early spark of it, isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet resonance, the invisible echo of two people feeling the same thing at the same time, even when neither is ready to say it out loud. So, if you want to know whether he's hiding his feelings, don't listen to what he says. Watch how he feels you. The truth of attraction is rarely spoken, it's mirrored, and the moment you sense that emotional rhythm between you, you're not imagining it. You're witnessing the subtle, unspoken choreography of connection beginning to unfold. When a man is attracted to you but hiding it, one of the final and most telling signs isn't what he does when he's around you, it's what he does when he's not. You see, attraction isn't just about chemistry in the moment. It's about the mental space you begin to occupy in someone's life. When a man finds his thoughts wandering to you, when he starts imagining scenarios that haven't even happened, when he subtly reorganizes his life to make room for you without realizing it, that's when you know something deeper is at play. The fascinating thing about male psychology is that men often express attraction through planning. They'll tell you stories about things they'd love to do someday, and somehow you're always part of those imagined moments. It might be casual, you'd love that place, or we should check that out sometime, but those statements aren't random. They're small openings into his mind, a safe way to express emotional investment without risking rejection. It's his way of saying, I see a place for you in my world, without having to say it outright, but here's where it becomes even more revealing. He begins to adjust his priorities. It might not be grand gestures or declarations, but you'll notice how he starts making small sacrifices of convenience or comfort, staying up later just to talk, finding time in a busy schedule to see you, or remembering things that matter to you because he knows they'll matter later. These are not accidents, they're unconscious acts of value. When we value someone, we create space for them, and a man who's hiding his attraction can't help but do that, no matter how subtle he tries to keep it. This also explains why he might become inconsistent. Sometimes he's deeply engaged, present, warm, and open. Then suddenly he seems distant. It's not that his attraction has faded, it's that he's overwhelmed by how real it's starting to feel. For men who fear vulnerability, emotional investment triggers a kind of internal alarm. Be careful, this could hurt. So they pull back, not to reject you, but to protect themselves. That push and pull, that oscillation between connection and retreat, is often a man's way of managing the growing truth that he's falling for you. And if you look closer, the distance isn't true disinterest. Even when he pulls away, his actions betray him. He'll still find subtle ways to stay connected, liking something you post, checking in casually, mentioning something from your last conversation. It's his way of saying, I haven't let go, even if he's trying to appear detached. Because the truth is, once someone begins to care, their subconscious refuses to let them fully disconnect. What this reveals is something deeply human. Attraction isn't a choice, it's an unfolding. It doesn't ask for permission or timing or logic. It simply happens, and no matter how much someone tries to hide it, genuine connection leaves fingerprint. So on their behavior, their attention, their priorities, and ultimately, their emotional world. So if you sense that a man is quietly drawn to you, even when his words suggest otherwise, trust that instinct. You're not imagining it. You're perceiving a truth that he hasn't yet gathered the courage to speak. Because love often begins in silence, not in confession. And the irony is, the more he tries to conceal it, the more clearly it begins to show. Attraction has a way of revealing itself through the very efforts we make to disguise it. So don't chase words, watch the quiet rearrangements of his world. That's where the truth always lies. Asterisk asterisk, because in the end, it's not what he says that matters most, it's what his actions whisper when he thinks no one's paying attention. Asterisk asterisk.